All right, yes, it is finally here. My first ever sort of battle report, right? We are just going to be going through the video. Essentially, this is sort of it's like a full game. Like I played for real. I rolled the dice off screen honorably. I didn't roll anything, whatever. Just like a teaching / full battle report of Grand Knights vs. World Eaters, how I approach the matchup. Everything is how it is on the table, and I think it should be really fun. It's my first attempt at this, so please give me your feedback on if you like it, if you prefer I play a more like organic game against like another person with like banter, etc., etc. There's a lot of different directions I can go with this, but this is what I wanted to try first. It lets me have a little more control over what's happening in the game, and I think it's pretty fun watch. It shows you how I go through a lot of the thought processes as the Grand Knight player, and hopefully I didn't play World Eaters like shit. You know, I hope it ended up being a really close game, so I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Okay, so getting right into it. Grey Knights today is going to be playing Banishers. I've been seeing a lot of chatter about the Rogue Trader entourage with the Navy Breachers, so I want to throw those in a list to show you guys how I might use these in a Search and Destroy matchup. Hopefully help some guys out. But yes, it is Banishers. We've got 2 Dread Knights. One of them has Hunter Sigil, so they're going to be rerolling 1s to hit in shooting. Then we have a 5-man strike squad, all melee. A Minotaur Priest, because we had points left over. You could cut him for Pyrosoul if you wanted to on the second Dread Knight, but then you have like 25 points floating around, which kind of sucks, so I just went with him. Again, this list is not necessarily optimized point-wise. This is just a concept I've been floating around with in my head that I've been wanting to try. So yes, then we've got 2 10-man Interceptors, all melee, 2 Rhinos, and 2 10-man Purifiers. These guys are all melee. Again, you could throw in some special weapons in these guys, but my goal for these units is to just go shake the game up and get supported with Dread Knights from behind. So that is the 1995 point Banisher Granite list I'm going to be playing today. I think it's really cool, really interesting. I haven't actually played the Rogue Trader Entourage unit yet, so we'll see kind of what that does for us. So it'll be really fun. So that is the Granite list. World Eaters is basically what I consider like the peak standard for World Eaters. So it's going to be 2 Forge Fiends, double spawn, double Slaughterbound. They're going to be solo this game. Demon Prince of Khorne with -1 damage, Karn with 10 Berserkers, 2 8-bound, 2 Exalted 8-bound, 2 Jackals, and a World Eaters Rhino to have Karn in it. I'll probably start 1 Exalted 8-bound in Deep Strike for a rapid ingress, since we are playing on Search and Destroy, and potentially a Forge Fiend in Strategic Reserve, because again, it is Search and Destroy, so we are going to need to be really flexible with how we're moving around the board. So that is the World Eater list. Again, I would consider this very, very standard for World Eaters. Didn't want to get anything too fancy, so without further ado, let's get into the battle report. All right, so as we're deploying here, quick note, something to keep in mind, a Rhino on this deployment is actually very safe when it comes to like a Forge Fiend shooting. I noticed that a lot of Granite players, or a lot of players in general, just will be really scared to deploy like along this line against World Eaters. And remember, even if he deploys a Forge Fiend right here, if it moves 10, right, it still is not going to be within rapid fire range. So a Forge Fiend without rapid fire pretty much never kills a Rhino, ever. And then if you're really worried about it, you can just pop smoke and you just never will kill a Rhino in its life because it's hitting on 5. So it's really important that against World Eaters on this deployment, especially if you're playing Banishers, that you have your fast moving unit deploy right here in this spot. Now there is some counterplay from the World Eater player with spawn, etc., which they'll definitely be doing this game. But what we don't want to do is deploy our Rhino right here, to be safe, right? And then now all of a sudden our 15-inch move ends with us being like right here, which is not good enough for us to go attack this expansion. So when you're right here against this ruin, you're really only able to get shot down this line, right? And I promise you, this Forge Fiend will never kill you. So what it forces your opponent to do is have to move the spawn this way to really challenge this Rhino. So you're not allowed just to fly this way with your 10 Interceptors and go deny their primary, right? Because ours is going to be locked down for at least one turn because we're going to have a ton of OC on this, and it's going to get supported by what we're doing, right? So that's just some quick note. Against World Eaters, do not be afraid to deploy down this line on layout 1 because a Forge Fiend will pretty much never kill a transport down this line unless something goes crazy with the dice. So, and again, you can just like smoke, right? All right, another little fancy play I like to do on search and destroy deployment is when you have one strike squad in most of your list, right? Now, if you have 2, obviously that changes things a little bit, which makes this a little easier. But so this Rhino normally would have the 10 interceptors in it, right? Which that is the goal of it. But the odds of us using these 10 interceptors on turn 1 on this flank, it's basically 0, right? Because we have other resources to use. So I always make sure I start my strike squad in this Rhino, so that way it's going to get a free Scout 6. Which is going to help us get it either plugged into this wall or into this little crevice right here. If we go second, it just gets to scout right here. I mean, frankly, you could scout it here to have it be safe, but we always want to try and scout with at least one of our transports if you have strike marines in our list, because it is really helpful for setting up tempo on turn like 2, because you basically get to go 18 inches with your Rhino instead of 12. And if you advance and roll like a 4, all of a sudden your Rhino's going like 22 inches, which is really good. Don't stress that much about turn 1 sticky. The Scout 6 on a Rhino is so much more valuable than a turn 1 sticky, because you just get to scout the Rhino, get the Strike Marine out, they get to go back here and tag the objective, and you get a sticky on turn 2. And if your opponent is on your home point killing you on the bottom of 1, you know, you've done something probably horribly wrong. So just keep that in mind. The Scout 6 is so valuable, especially on Search and Destroy. Okay, so here's the final Grey Knight deployment. I changed a couple of things up because I'm not used to playing with the Rogue Trader Entourage up here. So they're able to go get this point instead of having the Rhino to go that way. So what I did was I deployed the Rhino here, because if I go first, it can scout this and scout 6 this way and be very annoying for the World Eater player. It also is going to allow us to secure error denial and things like that. And then if I go second, it just can actually scout straight into this and be relatively safe unless they want to give up a whole Forge Fiend for it. So that's really the only change for it, just setting up for error denial and other really fancy plays you can potentially do, like move blocking to Demon Prince to like put yourself back a turn, etc., etc. So I've got a 10-man Purifier here, right here. It's staged to kind of move and attack the middle if our opponent gives up something that's big. We got a Dread Knight here. He's not really doing anything. He's just there in case our opponent does something really aggressive. I have the Sigil Dread Knight off the table and 10 Purifiers off the table, 10 Interceptors in this transport, and 5 Strike Marines in this transport. World Eater player, he's staged to attack this with the spawn. This Forge Fiend is relatively safe where it is. He can get hit with 200 killers, so there's some argument to have him deployed back here, which I think is actually correct. Then down on this side, we've got Scouting Spawn this way, Scouting Spawn this way, the -1 damage prints with Lone Op because of the Jackals right here, Exalted 8-bound, the Scouting 8 normal 8-bound, 2 Solar Slaughter bound. They're not really going to be in the game yet. The Karn unit is going to try and just move and develop to be inside of this. And this is going to just be a standard take and hold game. Should be fun. Really nice showcase for like what we're able to do in this matchup. And yeah, let's go. Let's make it happen. Here we go. All right, so the Grey Knight player drew Engage and no prisoners. So unfortunately, these are not fantastic cards. We do have an option to go sort of kill ourselves over here to go get a 2 on Engage and all fronts, which I actually am not super opposed to doing, because these 8-bound would have to be what answers this unit over here. So you know, we're not super opposed to doing that. However, I am likely not going to, because I hate losing resources for nothing, unless it's like error denial. That's like a 5-point swing, right? So what we have to do is decide how we're going to deal with these spawn. I don't believe that we can kill the spawn. However, we do have a couple different angles to do some shooting with these interceptors to where we might be able to at least kill one of them and make it a little less annoying for us. So I'm going to go through the Grey Knight first turn, and we'll do a recap shortly. All right, so the end of the Grey Knight movement phase, we're doing a few different things. So number one, I also adjusted the 8-bound. I don't think they would be right here. That seems kind of stupid. Otherwise, these guys would have maybe killed like 1 or 2, depending on what they rolled. So the interceptors are they get out, they're 15 inches. I'm only able to get about 6 on this terrain feature to shoot the spawn. The other 4 are going to shoot this way. This Rhino was able to go across the middle for Engage on all fronts, and it's going to be able to shoot a Hunter Killer at the spawn. This play up here is really interesting, actually, for me. So One of my favorite things to do with rhinos is like pseudo move block, like where our opponent wants to go. So we're 1-inching the wall with the breachers, right? And you can get about 6 OC. You could probably squeak an 8 OC on here, right? And still 1-inch the wall. And so now actually we have 10 OC on this point with the rhino. Even if they spawn roll to max advance, they're very likely not going to be able to go around this building and threaten the breachers. Even if they did, the breachers revive and the spawn are not going to kill all 14 of them, right? So now instead of them having a straight line to run this way and guarantee the charge, the spawn now have to either decide if they want to ram into this rhino, go this way, or come toward our home and die to purifier / strike squad, okay? So that is kind of the setup we have here. We have no prisoners. I'm not confident this is going to kill this. We're just going to simply shoot fire and fade. We are not going to go for like a big charge here. So that is going to be kind of how the turn 1 breakdown looks. We are not going to get shot by this Forge Fiend down this line because it deployed safely, so it didn't get double hunter killer missiled, which is fine. And lastly, we made sure that this rhino, even if this guy moves 10 inches up, is outside of 18 inches of this Forge Fiend, so it is not going to get popped, okay? And remember, we've got 10 interceptors still in this thing, and they have a 15-inch threat range plus an advance in charge. So even from our expansion, these interceptors are going to be able to go play the game basically anywhere on this quadrant of the table without needing to roll any dice. And then we've also got advance in charge in our back pocket. We are not setting up to do any misplays here on turn 1. We are just going to try and make these spawn a little bit less annoying and kind of see how the World Eater player decides they want to set up their bottom one. Remember, we do have to be very aggressive this game because we are going first. So we are staging this rhino here, basically against this wall to where we know that they're not going to be interacted with down this line. So the only way for our opponents to ever kill this rhino is to commit either Exalted 8-bound or normal 8-bound into it, and even then it is still about an 8-inch charge out of this ruin, and they are likely going to die just for a rhino, which is not optimal for them. And keep in mind, in reserve, we still have our reroll 1s to hit a Dread Knight and 10 purifiers out of rapid ingress, which will kill everything in his list, potentially even a Demon Prince if it is on the middle objective. So let's go through the shooting phase, and we'll recap turn 1 for Grey Knights. All right, so quick recap of the shooting phase. We were able to kill a spawn and take one down to 1. I knew I was going to get a free CP back, and we weren't going to probably use any CP on their turn. So I was comfortable throwing a grenade at these because these spawn are very, very annoying for screening and stuff like that. So I just threw a grenade and shot them with the 6 interceptors here. Got it down to 3 wounds, which is really nice. And then we got this one down to 2 with just some chip shots from the 4 guys here and the Rhino Storm Bolters here. We held the Storm Hunter Killer in case this thing wants to expose itself to do something. We get to shoot 200 killers at it, which is not nothing. Again, like throwing a grenade at like a 5-up Feel No Pain unit is like a little bit iffy sometimes, but I play this matchup enough to know how annoying the spawn are. Like if you can chip them down, like next turn we can for sure kill it with probably just Storm Bolters. We're like super okay with that. And we got our engage for 3 because we set up with this Rhino. So we got 1, 2, 3 corners. So we got 2 points. And then we're going to pitch no prisoners for a CP. So we're going to have 2 on their turn to their 2 on their turn. And you know, they can't bring in anything on their turn since it's turn 1. So this Rhino we know is is relatively safe unless they want to commit something that we're okay with this way. And we are staged from this position to attack their expansion to for sure at least deny them a point at least once. And they are basically unable to interact with our expansion for this turn until they start opening the game up with some other units. So let's move into the next turn. World Leaders. I promise I am playing this game for real, guys. I'm just drawing cards, rolling dice naturally, completely honorably. So they drew Secure and Cull the Horde. And what not everybody knows, and what's very interesting, is with Cull the Horde, the Rogue Trader Entourage does actually give up Cull the Horde. So it's a nice little grenade for them to get stuck with here. So they are not able to redraw Cull the Horde since I give it up on my expansion. And they're not going to be able to interact with that at all because how we set it up on turn 1. Even if, like I said, the spawn roll 6 on their advance, they're likely not going to be able to go make any plays onto that objective. So that's really cool. Secure No Man's Land, they're going to be able to get for a 5, but I just wanted to showcase Cull the Horde is a very, very cool one for you to get your opponent stuck with if you do decide to play the Rogue Trader Entourage. All right, so World Eater movement phase, pretty aggressive for them because if they sit back, they're just going to get pieced up by the stuff and never score a primary, and we are going to score our primary the whole game. So a little bit of a fancy play on this side of the table. So the spawn, since they can't actually make a meaningful play on this expansion, their best use is going to be to screen us to make sure that we can't have any impactful deep strikes on this side of the table. So the Jackals are going to get up this way. Make sure they're not going to get cooked by anything crazy shooting. The 8-bound are notably 24 inches away from where the Dread Knight can deep strike because of the spawn. So these 8-bound are actually incredibly safe in this position, which is going to allow them next turn to basically attack from here and go make some good plays unless we have a counterplay for them. Forge Fiend didn't necessarily do anything, but he's going to develop to make sure that next turn he's able to go over this wall and shoot some stuff over here. Demon Print set up with Lone Op in the middle, getting secure no man's land. Rhino rolled a good advance, so he's able to go position himself on this objective with the Berserkers inside of it. These guys are set up how they should have been to screen as much as possible, so no deep strikes back there for us. These guys are both staged to go play the game, and this one spawn has to kind of run this way to screen out this side. Otherwise, we're able to drop Dread Knights and shit right here and blow up their strong 8-bound. So the good news is about this setup for them is if they stayed back like all the way here, we would be able to go just continue to deny this with just a Rhino, right? We could get these interceptors out, go deny with a Rhino, and then nothing happens. Now, theoretically, you could get Carnage Unit out, but then you get shot by a bunch of other stuff. So I've just got the World Eater player pretty much playing really aggressively here and setting up to essentially attack us from their strong point on the table. So it's like they're likely going to score just their 5. Not a ton of action going on from their side. These guys had to both roll in advance to get into this little spot to where they're able to go play the game from. Now, as a Granite player, we have to figure out how we're going to navigate this next turn without losing too many resources, because notably, this Rhino cannot move to this point now because of the spawn and where he positioned it. So we are going to have to find a way to deny this without giving up a crazy resource. And it's going to be through, obviously, the 10-man intercept unit that we have inside of this transport. So again, no shooting really from the World Eater player this turn, I think, actually at all. No charges either, because we don't want this. Actually, we could just charge the one spawn here, because we should be able to, if this spawn charges, I think we still... yeah, so spawn actually will just charge the Rhino. He's going to get a 4, which is good enough. So he's going to go here. It's important that this guy, he makes sure that I can't go on to this point. And another thing about it, I am just going to cut this because then the Rhino could just desperate over the top and go on to the point. So not going to do that. All right, so that's it for the World Eater turn 1. They're going to score 5 points, and we'll move on to the Grey Knights pickups. On this position on the table, I actually am not gonna. I'm only gonna pick up. Well, let's see. I think I'm gonna pick up nothing. Actually, I don't believe that we need anything in the air right now because we already have 2 units up there, and we are just gonna be trying to attack them the best we can. Here we go. All right, so Grey Knight, top of 2. We are gonna score 10 for our primary because we have our home and this, and then now this is going to become sticky because, who cares? It's sticky on turn 2. That's totally fine. Again, sticky in turn 1, very overrated. Don't stress about it. Scout 6, way better. So we've got 3 CP because of how the game works. Our opponent has 4. And now we're going to look at our cards in which we draw a Display of Might and behind enemy lines. So behind enemy lines is not going to happen, and we are not going to redraw it. So that's just going to be another free CP. So we know we essentially are playing with 5 CP here, right? So Display of Might, let's take a look at what we have to accomplish here, and we'll go from there. So they currently have 1. Let's just say they were good. So we got 1, 2. Definitely could have positioned this to be display. So they've got 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so they have quite a lot for display. We currently have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so we could get up to 6 with some deep strikes. However, we need to make sure we do have a rapid ingress threat on their turn. So display is going to be tough. However, there are some units that we can definitely kill this turn to potentially go get it. Plus, we've got 2 units inside of this, which we could theoretically decide on keeping down. So let's wipe through this turn. Our goals is really going to be to kill these Jackals, kill these spawn, kill this spawn, contest this objective, and see what happens from there. So let's go roll some dice, and I'll let you guys know what I come up with. I'm thinking of doing some really aggressive plays with this 10-man interceptor unit because of how the board is positioned. Okay, so be right back. All right, so granite movement phase. I had to get a little creative here. I mean, with them being so aggressive, there's a lot of stuff I have to keep in mind, and I also have to keep in mind certain Miss of Deimos plays. So we were pretty much giving up this 10-man interceptor unit to hopefully kill, some amount of 8-bound over here. Ideally, like 5 of them, which would be great. We moved our rhinos here to contest the middle, so we're going to be able to shoot both our hunter killers right here and our storm bolters here. So that's going to be denied here, and it's going to be denied here, which is like ideally what we're going for. We could have got the berserkers out, but I positioned in a way to where they wouldn't have been able to get on this objective really in any meaningful way, so they would have just kind of been pointless for them. And I dropped in a dread knight here because our goal is to take care of these spawn with both these dread knights, and we hopped up our good guns and our voids and arms unit to kind of point over here. We've got 8 of our interceptors lined up to shoot the jackals, and they are also within 9 inches of this to fire and fade back into this vehicle to have to force a activation from our opponent. We don't need these purifiers to go play the game yet because we are giving our opponent a lot of stuff they have to go charge into and deal with right here. So these guys will be able to answer that, and then we still have 10 purifiers in deep strike for rapid ingress. So our goal in the shooting phase is to probably grenade and shoot everything at the Exalted 8-bound, charge here and likely eat some form of heroic from these, one of these slaughterbound, and then kill these jackals, shoot and kill these spawn, and then maybe do some chip damage to the demon prince here with our hunter killer missiles, and hopefully kill this with the storm bolters. And yeah, let's go from here. We are going to go to the grenade shooting phase. Be right back. I'll roll it out. Oh, also, no rapid ingress from the World Eater player because there is really nowhere for them to go. We've got this screened out here. This is screened out all the way to the back because of these guys. This corner screened. Really nowhere meaningful for them to drop in. So they are going to have to develop the game a little bit more before they rapid. All right, so here's kind of the recap of the turn. Honestly, I think it's really cool. Pretty cool game plan on this side of the table because instead of actually charging down here, I actually killed 2 of these and shooting with a grenade, and then I actually fire and faded to make this an 8-inch charge for the next turn, right? What this does is this kind of paralyzes this rhino. It says it's not allowed to move, otherwise they get to mist. If these guys want to go this way, they literally have to stand still, otherwise they have to walk the other direction. We have the interceptors. They're not going to pile into this demon prince. They killed 2 of these guys because he went -1 damage, so we left 1 on 1 wound. We actually did get our sustained hits off with our interceptors. So he is going to have a 1 wound 8-bound, which actually has to swing back. So let me roll that really quick. So I think he has 4 attacks. All hit. He's got sustained 2s, and then it's AP 2. So we lose 3 guys. Let me go 1, 2, 3. So with the -1 damage, obviously saved that unit, and we for sure would have killed it. This also killed 2 on Overwatch. So our opponent is down to 1 CP. We're down to 2 CP. I think we are going to miss display. Let's count it up really quick. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are going to actually tie that. So a little bit of a mistake on my part. Could I have finagled this any differently? I don't think so. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there, 1, 2. Actually, yeah, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So we are going to actually just tie display, which is very unfortunate for us. However, we were able to deny this completely and deny this completely with our double rhino play. And we are going to head into the World Eater's turn. Also, for what it's worth, if that demon prince would have heroicked, we would have just pulled, like we would have killed this and then pulled when the 8-bound swung or whatever. So it doesn't matter that much. And he would have been off the objective, which is bad, right? So moving on to World Eaters, bottom 2. We are going to score nothing, unfortunately, on secondaries, but that's okay. I think that was a good turn for us, all things considered. All right, World Eaters player got Sabotage and Overwhelming Force. So that is, Sabotage is a little bit, it's very easy for them, and then Overwhelming Force is a bunch of different things to kill. This is weirdly not the easiest thing in the world to kill. He just has to rely on getting a rerolling 8, which is not super unrealistic, but if he wants to go for this unit, he's not allowed to really move any of these guys. He's a Battle Shock on the one guy. He does fail, which is unfortunate. And yeah, let's go into it. So like I said, he's going to get a 5 because of the home point that he holds. And he's got Overwhelming and Sabotage with 2 CP to my 4 CP. And I have 10 guys in Deep Strike. And he's got the Forge Fiend and the Exalted 8-Bound, which could also come in. Notably, the Forge Fiend can't come in anywhere relevant at the moment, just the way the board is set up. So the Forge Fiend basically can only come in back on this side of the table, which is not optimal for it. And the 8-Bound, obviously, we want to rapid ingress those because they are a little bit better at doing that. So, walking through their turn, I think the goal for World Eater player, he has to just make the decision on if they want to risk going for these 8s over here. And honestly, I think that like you probably would. Like you have the spawn for sure, basically, and then the 8-Bound, like get a re-rolling 8. I'll roll that live for everybody, and I think you send the Slaughterbound on other objectives this way. Something else to consider if he does Battle Shock there as well. He does pass. So like if he falls back here, we could miss this. However, we want to make sure we're not losing both of these in this turn. So we'll have to make that decision when we come to it. We still have 2 Dread Knights left to shoot with, and we are going to make sure we have a good turn here. So let's go. Let's do it. All right, end of the World Eater movement phase. He did fall back here. However, I am actually opting not to miss this unit. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this play, like as a Grey Knight player, right? Number one, like we're banking on like a 8-inch rerolling here, which is like a 65% chance. Then he's got a 9-inch without a reroll, right? And then has to be a 9 because he was outside of it. And then the spawn obviously get in there and maybe kill like 1 or 2. So like you have to decide on like, do I want to guarantee this unit lives or see what happens over here, right? Now, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can go about this. Like if this goes badly for them, like you kind of auto win the game like instantly, right? Or you could like for sure pick this unit up and then rapid it so it gets to come contest this point again. There's like a couple different ways you could think about it. I think both are actually super valid. However, I am just going to force them to have to use a CP and reroll some charges over here because theoretically, if he makes it with only the Slaughterbound and the Chaos Spawn, I think we do get to live here and potentially scam a 15, right? Over here, because this Rhino can't move. You know what I'm saying? If that Rhino wants to move to try and play the game with Karn, these guys get to miss, and it's really bad for the World Eater player. Keep in mind, I do still have 10 Purifiers in Deep Strike. This Forge Fiend doesn't have to move because it's lined up at the 5-man right here, which is going to kill it. It's actually not worth it for it to shoot these because you'll never kill this unit. This unit is actually showing its value pretty well this game because even if he kills like 4 of them, they get to revive and they have like scattered 4 and vulnerables. So I'm actually so far pretty impressed with this unit. And then what we're going to do with our next turn is really just try and develop the Purifiers and the Dread Knights on the next turn because our Interceptors have shooken the game up quite a bit to the point where our Purifiers, Dread Knights can hopefully, take us home. So Sabotage is going to be done by the Rhino because it's really not threatened right now. And we are going to roll the shooting phase with the Forge Fiend and see what happens with these charges. I'll roll it live because that's exciting. All right, shooting phase, the Force Fiend killed the Interceptors here, kind of no problem. And now let's roll the charges live. So we'll start with the 8 with the CP reroll, right? They've got sustain and fight on death. So here we go. Here's an 8. That's a 7. All right, spend a CP. I think they can do it for free, actually. So where the free CP is gone. Here we go, looking for an 8. That's a 7 again. So already they're not going to make this charge. I promise this was a, see as an 8-inch charge, which is very sad. So they already missed that with their CP reroll. Now they're going to have to go for a 9 with the Slaughterbound and they fail. And the Chaos Spawn get to charge in with the 7. So my argument actually is probably not even to charge in with this now because it will just die and you lose the screening piece, right? So I promise that was my first roll on that. Now, again, could they have made the charge? Sure, but I'm playing this as like a live game, and I went for the riskier play as a Grey Knight player, theoretically, and I was rewarded. I'd say at least one of these 2 should have made it, but honestly, I rolled it as it stands, and they missed. So, I assure you guys that was the first take on that, and I would have played it as it rolled. So we're going to only contest this point next turn, which is sad, so we're not going to get it 15. The reason you wouldn't charge this spawn in at this point is because then I would get to consolidate and take the point, which is very bad. And I actually didn't need to rapid ingress anything at the moment because I think that we're in like a decent position to deny this with the Purifiers. So other charges with Demon Prince will charge both to see what happens. There's a 12. and then we'll charge Slaughterbound. There's a 9. Yeah, there's all the rolls I needed, and then the other guy gets an 8. So again, to see how easily they could have just made all these charges over here. Again, it is what it is. I went for the riskier play, and I got rewarded. Theoretically, I could have set this up to make it a 9. A 9-inch charge with the fire and fade. So it is what it is. So I'm going to roll through the combat, and we'll get back to it. All right, so World Eater player killed both rhinos in the middle for a max overwhelming force. And he's sabotaging here, which they are very likely going to get. And going over the Grey Knight player, we got to pick up some stuff. So we're just going to pick up both the Dread Knights and the Strike Squad because we don't need them back there at the moment. And we are going to keep display because I believe that we can score it relatively comfortably next turn. And let's go right into it. So going into the Grey Knight turn, they are going to draw Cleanse along with Display of Might. So not a great card. We'll just get a nice 2 from our beautiful Navy Breachers back there. But let's get right into it. So it's top of 3. So our opponent does have to rapid ingress something theoretically. So we're just going to make sure that that is not super impactful. But frankly, this not getting interacted with is terribly bad for a leader player. And they couldn't have got shot with Forge Fiends. Literally, this was just a really, really good interaction for us here. And yeah, let's go. All right, top of 3 shooting phase, movement phase. I just dropped in my Dread Knights right here to line up to the middle. The Purifiers lined up to shoot here and hopefully kill the infantry. I moved this up to push the screen out a bit. They're going to be able to rapid like here-ish, which they probably will. Interceptors moved here to make sure this screen was nice and tight on this side of the table. Dread Knights are lined up to shoot the middle. And that's really it. I did redraw. I didn't redraw. I pitched Display because I looked at it and actually not going to happen. So I got Assassinate and Cleanse. So obviously we're just going to Cleanse for 2 right here and take our 2 points on Cleanse. We got a 10 more on Primary. And our goal here is to put them on a 5 once again. So let's go into shoot phase. The Dread Knights are pretty much going to wait to see if the Purifiers kill this between a grenade and shooting. Over here, we're going to do similar shooting, kill the trash. And again, Karn's unit can't really get out on this side of the table because it's not going to be able to do anything. And if they did, I just frankly probably wouldn't charge because we've already gotten more value out of this unit than we should have. And I'm going to hold this for a rapid ingress on the following turn. So our opponent is going to rapid in the... Alrighty, so I don't remember where I left off, but I lined up to shoot stuff here. And we're going to basically Karn's unit. We have to decide if we want to get it out, right? Now we didn't make a move, so we could theoretically get Karn's unit out. I guess I would make sure that he can't get out onto this objective, which is all we really care about in terms of OC. Now, if he does get out, he could get out to here and do a pretty good heroic if I wanted to charge here. But in that case, if they want to do that, then I just simply wouldn't charge, and I'd be okay with this unit just kind of standing there. Because this game is really about to open up when I kill some of this stuff just in the shooting phase. So, if you guys think it's a huge mistake for me not to get out here with Karn's unit, I understand. It's not gonna get him any more primary. And frankly, I think I'm going to kill enough over here in shooting with just the Stormbolters for this to be really relevant for us. So, again, rapiding the Exalted 8-bound, we are going to rapid them essentially right here to where they are going to be very safe, and they are going to be able to go kill our stuff in the middle once we charge with the Purifiers in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that they are actually out of range here as a 10. I think they're actually really safe right here, to be honest, because they have to cleanse over there. So alrighty, let's do it. Let's go to shooting. Oh, then I also have to bring in the Forge Fiend on their turn, which will be fine. Honestly, in hindsight, maybe it was a mistake how I played the Forge Fiend this game. Again, apologies if this was a bad game from World Eater perspective, but that's kind of want to showcase what Grey Knights can sort of do and my thought process on certain things. Again, I consider myself pretty good at this game, so World Eaters could be doing similar plays to this. So here we go. Let's shoot some stuff. Alrighty, end of the shooting phase. I was able to kill the Slaughterbound with the basically 40 Stormbolter shots, rerolling wounds on the Slaughterbound, and the Purifying Flames on the Slaughterbound. For the first Dread Knight killed the Exalted 8-bound, and then the last one, since we cleaned up the Lone Op, was able to do basically 6 damage between the Melta and the Psy Cannon. So now we are lined up to hit this 4-inch charge here. This unit grenaded here and shot them and killed 1 8-bound, left 1 down to 1 wound or 2 wounds. So since we didn't get the Karn unit out, these guys are going to be able to charge. and hopefully clean up all 3 of these guys. If not, I might just leave this guy standing around. So let's go into the charge phase. So purifiers, they need a 4. They get a 5. Very cool. They're going to go 5. So we do have to get 4 wounds through, which is not nothing. However, it is purifiers with a guy on an objective. We're probably going to lose like 2 or 3 guys. Then here we're going to charge. We're going to force him to use a CP if he wants to get in there. So we are going to charge just the Slaughterbound character with a 9. And then we're going to make sure we do this charge in a way to where we keep 2 guys on the objective. So we're willing to give up, it looks like 1 guy swinging to make sure that we keep this objective contested, because like we can tag here. So we've got 2 OC on this point, 2 from the Rhino, and everyone's going to swing into Slaughterbound. So let's roll it. So let's go Purifiers first. They pile in 3. Yeah, so we're going to lose 3 guys, which is okay. So here we go. This is the most important part of Banishers right here, sustained. I do get it. So it's going to be 3, 6, 7, so 21. 21 attacks from the Purifiers. Hitting on 3, 6 are sustained. No, I go 1 sustained. Oops. And then I'm wounding on 5s, re-rolling. 7 saves, and he does fail a bunch of them. So Dia Prince does die, and he does not blow up. So we get to go here, boom. We're on the middle now. The Forge Fiend is looking right at us, but we're in like a pretty comfortable position here. We are going to lose this unit next turn, and likely this unit to Karn, but we are in a decent position with the rest of what we've got going on. So we'll be right back. Let's roll this. I mean, why not? We're already here. So I'm losing 1 guy, so that's 9 times 27 attacks. Here we go for sustained. I do get it. 25. Rolling good on that today. 3s with sustained, and then 3s. I don't think they're T6. I'll save this just in case. I'll double check. Either way, he takes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage. Boom. Done. And then we are just going to stand right there to make sure that we keep this objective contested. Alrighty. And that is it for the turn. So we'll score a 5 on Assassination and a 2 on Cleanse. We'll go to 4 CP when we pass the turn. They'll go to 2 CP when we pass the turn, and they are going to score Sabotage. And they're going to get a 5 for their home once again. So I'll go to their turn, and we'll talk through what they're going to do next. Alrighty, they draw Bring It Down and Assassination. Not great cards considering they are both going to be right here, and they don't really have a way to really attack either one of these. So it's likely they're going to miss on both of those. Technically I have characters over here, but then that would require them to commit their 8-bound unit this way, which I'm not sure that they would be willing to do with the state of the game at the moment. So walking through their turn, I think their goal is going to be to kill this unit and kill this unit, which I think is super, super reasonable, because we can also get them Forge Fiend in here to shoot them from this angle. Karn unit has to come out and play the game, but we have to be very careful to stay outside of 9 inches of this, and frankly, then he just gets lined up with Dread Knights. So frankly, I may have just played Karn like shit this game, because he's been really, really hard to get out, but that's also the power of Miss and Deimos and Grey Knights in general, is we are able to just kind of do whatever we want and go from there. So let's move on through their turn and yeah, see what happens. All right, so in their movement phase, we're probably just we're gonna bank on this Forge Fiend killing a shitload of these. We have both of them lined up with an 18. This one won't get rerolls, but it's still gonna get rapid fire. Then we have to rapid ingress another unit in, so we'll probably just rapid ingress these purifiers basically right here to make sure that we can go either heroic if he rolls too well, or just make sure we have an answer for them moving up at us over here. So I'm curious to see if this unit can take 8-pound hitting them, but I doubt it. And again, the Karn unit, like, I'm just really struggling on how I want to use it right now. I think actually we could line up for like a double 9. Like we could go this way toward the Dread Knight and go for like Bring It Down, which is like kind of reasonable actually. go here, and then the Dread Knight could just miss, but we could just go for the other one. So we're actually I'm gonna look at that. So I'll be right back. All right, so Karn did roll high enough to basically get all the way here. So now I know this is a bring it down and assassination target, so I'm going to use my free CP to mist this guy off the table to force him into a 7-inch charge. They're likely going to make that one, but that's also telling us that we've got, you know, resources still over here and we have a way to answer this. I think the game is kind of is over pretty much, but I still want to roll it out, just kind of show you guys how I would like handle the end game here from a winning position. All right, shooting phase. This Forge Fiend killed 5 or 6 of these guys. This one killed about 5 purifiers. And now we're just lined up to do the charges. So we'll do the 1 wound 8 bound into the middle. He makes it with the 5. Barely. The exalted up there on the top. They're going to get a 10. However, they certainly could position in a way that is not going to get heroicked. Ideally, all 3 of them on the objective, which I think they could do with a 10. Perfect. Out of heroic range. And then the Exalted is going to charge into here with a 6. It's good enough. And then the Rhino will charge in with a 9 and is going to take shock as well. Also, Karn unit rolled really good, so he's on deep over here. He needs a 7 rerolling, which he does get. So they're going to go 8 into this Dread Knight. So let's roll all this up, and we'll see where we stand. This is the pylon, obviously. I'm pretty confident that he can do it. They've got sustained lethals this turn. Also, I forgot to mention that. So we're going to lose Karn, obviously, we're going to make in. We'll lose 1 guy, 2 guys with the chain, with the little melee axes, whatever, but we'll have the good melee attacks in there. I could interrupt, however, I don't really see a spot to interrupt. But let's do this one live. I'm curious to see kind of what this looks like with the Rogue Trader Entourage, if they can maybe live here. If they can live this, then this unit might be really worth playing. So let's take a look. All right, so here we go. Here's the 8 bound into the Navy Breachers and the Entourage. So it's hitting on 3s with 6s being lethal sustained. No reroll, sustained lethal. I think. No, it should only be 3 lethals. And then wounding on 2s. Very good. And then, so we have that many saves. So I'll start on the Rogue Trader itself. They have a 4-up invulnerable. So they are alive. They're dead. Okay. So the Rogue Trader is dead. I've never actually played this unit before. Then I have 2 more guys. Oh, there were 6 more left. Then I have 2 more guys that have a 4-up invulnerable with 1 wound. Good. 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 Okay. Good. Good. Dead. Okay. So I lost 2 freaking. Okay. So I lost 2 guys. And I kept the revive guy left, right? So then both of those guys get to basically come back the next turn. Okay. This unit might be cracked. Obviously I'm not going to roll the swings back, even though like I have like some amount of dudes, but that's crazy. Obviously I spiked a little bit there, but those 8 bound were never killing this whole unit. And then I just get to revive and take the point back with a bunch of OC2. So that's, this unit might be pretty good, guys. Might be worth playing. And then, Karn's going to nuke this Dread Knight into oblivion for sure. And then we'll roll over here real quick. So I've got my Exalted 8 bound. He's got 5 attacks. He hits with that. Wounds with 4. I fail 3, so we kill 3. 1, 2, 3. This Rhino is on the objective. Definitely, I'm not going to be bad. And the Rhino will go. I think he's got like 5 attacks. Hits with that many. Wounds with 2. Save. All right, cool. We'll swing back. This guy will go here, and then we'll do our attacks back. Sustains, get it. So I have 6 attacks back. Here come a bunch of 6s. I hit with that, with the sustained. Wound with 3. Fail when he dies. He is dead. And then we'll just go back here and contest with that. Over here in the middle, we got 5 attacks. Or is this Exalted? Normal one, so we got 5 attacks. Boom. Or 6 attacks, I think. I don't remember. Lethal sustained. Wounds with 4. I save 3 or 2, so I lose 3 guys. So 1, 2, 3. Then we'll swing back and we will kill him always with the 3 purifiers. So now basically we have to just find a way to answer these couple of things he has left on the table, and we will move on with our turn. So end of the turn, we're going to pick up the strike squad because we can, and this guy is going to stay right here. So how we want to handle this is we're just going to go on our turn and see what we get. Be right back. Okay, so we're going to auto pass the purifiers, which will put us back down to 3 CP. So we're going to get a 15 on this because we revived D3 from our Navy Breacher unit for 1. That'll just be our little our rogue trader with 4 wounds, which is pretty cool. And then we'll scoot in this, and obviously we have this objective. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So our main goal in this turn is how we're going to handle the Karn unit that is running at our home and set us up to not lose on bottom turn. Because as it stands right now, we are actually in, believe it or not a fantastic position to not lose this game on bottom turn. So we did get a 15, which is really nice, and we got marked and storm. So our only storm is actually going to be their home. So we are going to redraw storm or storm because we want to make sure we are in a better spot. So we got overwhelming force, which is just going to be this and this. We are unfortunately not going to be able to kill this thing this turn or probably the rest of the game. So our goal this turn is really just going to be how can we clean up the board and go from there. So we really want to kill this, and then we need to kill this, right? So what I'm going to do, we are just going to drop in Mr. Dread Knight right here. 9 away. And then we are going to fall back with the Entourage. Which I actually, guys, I really freaking like to shoot it after this. They've done quite a lot of stuff for this game. They're annoying to kill with invulnerables. There's enough guys in there to take decent volume. It's pretty interesting. I will say, pretty interesting. This is going to go here. This is going to activate the move. The Forge Fiend will overwatch it. So I'll be right back. All right, so end of the movement phase, I actually made a couple little changes. This Forge Fiend killed 2 of these guys, so I only have 1 left. He's going to go for a 6 just to try and tie it up. These guys are set up to kill this. This right now is set up to kill this. Our goal is really just to make sure we get at least a 5 on our next turn because this unit, we do not have the resources left to kill. So it's going to go take our home, and he's going to likely get a 15 on the bottom turn. But what's important is that we built a lead over the course of the first few turns to allow us to eat a big bottom turn for them. We're going to fall these guys back after they pass the battle shock to make sure they're only going to get a 5 on this turn. And we are going to see what happens here. So shooting phase, I'll roll it real quick so you guys can see it live. Just curious if you haven't watched 40 Storm Bolters with rerolling wounds into 8 bound. It is pretty strong. So here we go. So here's the 40 Storm Bolters from the purifiers there, hitting on 3s, no rerolls, wounding on 5s, full rerolls because they're on an objective. So that's going to hand them 15 saves, and it's going to kill 1 2/3. Then we have the purifying flame left, which is 10 shots. Boom, hits with that many, 2s rerolling, puts them on a 5-up save. They are going to lose the guy, and it's going to leave 1-on-1 wounds, which the Dread Knight will be able to take care of, no problem. Okay, we're going to leave these guys in Deep Strike for a rapid ingress for anything that we might want, and then we're going to roll a charge into this. We need a 6. It is a boxcar charge. We're just going to go this way, and we're going to save a CP in case this Forge Fiend kills us, which would be very sad because we want this thing tied up so these guys can go kill it next turn. So here we go. Yep, be right back. Alrighty, end of the turn, we get baby marked and overwhelming force for 3, so we get a 5 on secondaries that turn, not too bad. We did 2 damage to the Forge Fiend, it did 1 damage to us back, but we are in a position to now where this Karn Berserker unit has to make a decision on if it wants to go this way to try and get rid of our resources, or guarantee that it's going to get a 5 on this point, right? So we're going to walk down the World Eater's turn real quick and go from there. So we got Tempt and Recover for them, so we're going to tempt this, which they are not going to be able to get. So I think they're playing for points at this point, so we are going to have them redraw that, and they are going to draw no prisoners, which is going to be likely, I think, 2. They're going to kill this with the spawn, and maybe, I don't know, actually, this guy is on 1, so we'd have to just leave the Force Fiend in combat and see if it kills him there. I believe that is going to be it, because this is going to go here. I think it could have actually got a line on the 1 purifier. So this will fall back onto the middle, and then this will have a line on this 1 purifier. So we'll go through the shooting phase and kind of wrap this game up. All right, so wrapping the game up, I'm gonna wrap at these guys, the strike squad that we had in reserve, just to go threaten his home point. Hopefully, put him on at 10 at the end of the game, because on this turn we're likely going to be able to kill this and hopefully this. They're going to get a 10 no matter what. We drew sabotage and secure no man's land, which we're going to get for a 5 because our purifier unit is going to go this way. We don't want them to get overwatched. They're just going to scoot right into this wall pocket. And these guys are going to score once again another freaking point for us. And the Red Knight is going to drop in. I think we'll drop him in basically right here because we don't have anything to do with him. We just want to make sure he doesn't accidentally kill this thing in shooting. So we might not even shoot it. Frankly, we could just drop it in somewhere else because we really don't want to kill this in shooting. So let me take a look at that. Okay, I'm just going to drop him down here, be extra greedy. We'll see if we can kill maybe the spawn and like the rhino in shooting and force him to have to put this Forge Fiend over here. So going through the phase, it should be really nice and simple. We'll just roll it out real quick. Here's the Dread Knight. The Dread Knight's going to shoot the side cannon here and the Melta here. So here's the side cannon, hits with that, wounds with everything. 3, 6, 9, only does 9 damage, does not kill the rhino, which is sad, but it does put it down to, I think, 1 wound. And we've got the Meltas here, hits with both, wounds with both. Spawn doesn't get a save. Spawn takes 5 damage. So here we go. And the Spawn lives with 1. Very sad. And then the Frag Storm would have gone at the vehicle because it's for 5 shots. Rolling 1s, miss it, and then it 6s. Oh, this is going to kill the rhino for us? It does. Blows up, kills the rhino, and it does not blow up. So cool. That's really it. We'll see if this Dread Knight can bang a 9. Cannot. Free CP reroll. Does not. Cool. Over here, we're going to charge the purifiers into the middle. Super nice and quick. That's a 5. And I'll move this off real quick. This would have moved 6 this way. And we'll wrap the game up here. All right, if you guys haven't seen it before, this is what purifiers look like when they're hitting a vehicle on an objective, basically. They're usually pretty efficient at killing it, so I just want to show you how it looks like. So see if I go Banisher test for sustained, I pass again, and it'll be 30 attacks. Here we go, hitting on 3, 6 are sustained. Then it's going to be 5 full rerolls. So we're going to hand this thing 15 saves at AP2, and it is going to take 18 damage. And again, just for the record, that same math into Imperial Knights, so you guys know. Obviously, it could swing down or up, but that is the same math into Knights, everything except the Rogel Dorn or something like that. So when you guys ever see me with a list that's like a lot of purifiers and stuff, how do you kill vehicles? Well, that's how you kill vehicles, because they will shred T11 or lower vehicles if they're on an objective. And then on the whole point here, let's see if I get past another Banisher leadership, and I do. There's 15 attacks into the Jackals. Hits with a lot, wounds with sustained 2s or 3s to wounds, and then that's 8. 8 just die. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can't ever take the point back from us. So we can kind of talk the game out from here. So I'll be right back. All right, so our opponent drew engage and behind enemy lines. Unfortunately, they drew air denial and I had to redraw it, so they got behind enemy lines. So this spawn rolled in advance to get behind. The Berserkers have to stay here to score a 5 on primary. Now, because we have their home point, they are not going to be able to score a 15. This guy has to go here, so they get that. So they're going to hold 2. So we're going to get a 10. Oh, it's going to be close. They're going to get a 10, and then they get behind for 4. And then they get engaged for 2. So if we wouldn't have took their home, they actually would have tied us. So, I mean, that's the game. Obviously, guys, like, please remember, the whole idea of this is just kind of like an exercise in like showcasing how I think about stuff, how I play. Did I play the World Eaters perfectly this game? Like, I'm sure I didn't. If anyone plays World Eaters and you watch and like, I'm an idiot, blah, 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 blah. Like, I totally understand. Really, the whole point of these games, my goal for when I do these games is just to show you guys like how I think about what the board looks like, how I assess targets, and how I like attack things in position. Honestly, all things considered, I think this is a really good game. It was really close. Obviously, things would have been a lot different if these charges would have worked out. But again, for all the odds of all three of them working out in the World Eater player's favor are not good. And, you know, I could have done things better as the Grey Knight player too, I'm sure. But it's my first ever like battle report thing. If you guys like this format, let me know. If you guys prefer I play against like somebody else, like in a live game, that's something else I can consider. This is just kind of the most streamlined way I could think. You know, from a team format, this was a 10-10 overall. Really good game. And if Grey Knights had bottom turn, obviously it would have been probably a lot better for them. But that was just kind of like a going first showcase for Grey Knights. And, you know, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for watching. And, you know, leave comments and feedback. Seriously, it would mean a lot. Thank you.